Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for allowing me to participate today. I really am concerned with Mr. Atkins and Mr. Zuckerman. And Professor, when you were talking, you referenced Judge Leonard Hand. And I want to read something because I think this goes to the very essence of what the meeting is about today. And I know you know what I'm talking about. It goes to a speech that was given in 1944 by the judge, and it's called "I Am an American Day." This is what the judge said. "What do we mean when we say that first of all we seek liberty? I often wonder whether we do not rest our hopes too much upon constitutions, upon laws, and upon courts. These are false hopes. Believe me, these are false hopes. Liberty lies in the hearts of men and women. When it dies there, no constitution, no law, no court can save it. No constitution, no law, no court can even do it much to help it. While it lies there, it needs no constitution, no law, no court to save it." Isn't it stunning that you have to come, Mr. Zuckerman and Mr. Atkins, to Congress? Your right to free speech, whether I agree with what you say or whether I don't agree with what you say. That is the beauty of who we are as Americans. That goes to the very fabric of what this country was founded on, and especially in our universities. But we can censor you when it comes to funding, and by tax laws, and by codes. We can make it impossible for you to have that free discourse, to have that disagreement, to have that argument out in the open. So I think it's really important that the people that are sitting here today understand that we listen to the people. We represent the people. My district, 705,687 Americans sent me here, or at least a portion of them, to represent them. Mr. Zuckerman, how did this affect you? Because when we do attack you at the very base of who you are and what you believe and what we believe in as Americans, how does that leave you feeling at the end of the day?
Well, frankly, I just think it's completely unacceptable for any university, especially public legally, but from a moral perspective, it is unacceptable that any university would attempt to either censor its students. That's why we're there, to discuss, to learn, to listen to others' ideas, scrutinize our own. And for any university to shut that down or to try to impose orthodoxies that would pressure us into remaining silent is just not a good use of the it's not a good use of the university's trust. It's betraying our trust in them.
Yeah. So my real point is, you should never be limited. You should never ever feel that you don't have the ability to do this and to speak out, especially on a university campus, especially in the United States of America. So, Mr. Atkins, you're feeling at Georgetown University, when they play this run out the clock on you, what's your feeling now as an American citizen? How were you treated? Was this really the America that you believed in? Is this really the America that you want to defend? Is this really the America that you want to live in and raise your children in? And is this really the America that 1.4 million people in uniform died to preserve?
So I think that there's an unfortunate kind of American cliche that's arisen that, you know, there's only two things you don't talk about: religion and politics. And I think that many of these policies are perhaps related to that sort of cultural norm, which I think is incredibly unfortunate and goes against what the country was founded on. So in the case of my experience, you know, what was most troubling to me is I can certainly understand confusion as to what 501c3 would obligate Georgetown to do. I can understand being risk adverse and being concerned about retaining that tax exemption so that they could fulfill the entirety of their mission. But what was concerning to me is I didn't get a sense from the administration that they were concerned about how this affected our rights to engage in very valuable political expression. And it was that kind of struck me and made me concerned about why wouldn't the university want to help us to engage in this type of activity?
Well, I want to congratulate both of you for standing up. And I think it is absolutely chilling that we have to have this kind of a hearing to expose what's going on. And I think, when I look back on my college days, that if we ever were suppressed or not able to express the way we felt, you would have to go to the very depths of who it is we are as a people. Because we can, through government, suppress. We can censor. We can do almost anything to you we want, and yet hold these high things that we hold. These are great things about America. We know that enshrined in the very Bill of Rights, the very First Amendment to the Bill of Rights, allows us to have free speech. For what you had to go through is absolutely ridiculous. And I don't care what college it is, private or public, all of these folks are influenced in some way or another by the tax code. So I don't want anybody ever to be confused about why we would hold this today. If not us, who? Who would hear you? Who would stand up for you? Who would defend you in the public place? You both do great work, and while we may not share the same opinions, I'll tell you what, we share the same love of country and the same commitment that if it's not us, if it's not our generation right now, who is it that's going to defend it in the future? So I thank you so much, and Chairman, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. This is absolutely the most timely thing we can do because we are being chopped off at the knees, and so many opportunities we have to express ourselves in free speech. So all of you at the panel, thanks so much. Professor George, good seeing you. But when you said that about Professor Hand, that sparked that in my memory, what I had heard one time, and I read it, and I said, my gosh, this comes to it. When it dies in our hearts, when it dies in who we are, when it's no longer the fabric of who America is, then we're no longer America. So you can forget the red, white, and the blue and all the things that we talk about all the time. If we can't defend who we are, if we can't protect the freedom of speech, then we have no business serving in this House. So I thank you so much. And
thank you.
Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.